Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Desk. I'm your host, and this evening, Carl Dubs Catliff. In the studios with me, I have my co-host. He's not a co-host this evening. He's on the hot seat this evening, Paul on the ball. And I also have in the house with me from the Elmore Stout High School Physical Department, head of the PG Department, Mr. Darwin Catliff. Good evening, folks.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Carl.
And how are you doing this evening, my dear fellow co-host?
Oh, I'm glad you're not the co-host.
You're not the co-host. You're not the co-host tonight, but you're
I'm always a co-host.
Yes. How are you this evening?
I'm great.
Good. Before you start, I just want to say good night to Paul's mom. He normally gets in on me, so I'm going to say good night to you, mother of Paul.
Mother of Pearl?
Mother of Paul. Oh. Mother of Paul. Good evening. My mom says she gets all your
She does?
Yes.
Good.
She
well,
says
let me say good evening to Derwin's mom. Because I always see her when I go up by the government house.
Yes, you do.
So I say good evening to Derwin's mom because I know she's watching. I hope she's watching tonight.
Thank you very much.
Is she Darwin?
Yes, she is.
Good.
Yeah, good. And then I'll say good evening to Carl's mom.
Yes.
And I'll try my best to keep him behaving himself.
Yes, and this evening, folks, if you're just joining us, a number is on the screen to call. We're going to be talking about sports in general. Basically, from the primary school level, we're supposed to have somebody from the primary school sports showing up. Hopefully, he gets here. And the high school level, and from my good fellow co-host from the ministries level and what's going on in sports. This is one of the first series of this type of show. I just wanted to let you guys know that it's a new season, it's a new year, and there's a lot in store, and we just want to find out what's going on. So I'll jump right into it. Again, Darwin, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
I know I would have normally liked to start with the primary school, but my man is not here yet. So let us know what's going on in the high school sports, high school PE.
But as far as PE, we're trying something new this year where we're trying to give each sport more or less a 9-week cycle instead of a whole term cycle, and try to make sure that each sport gets its fair share of the weeks instead of, one sport maybe getting 14 weeks and another sport maybe getting 6 weeks. So hopefully this way with the rotation schedule, everybody's going to get hopefully 9 to 10 weeks, and that way all the sports get their fair share.
Well, I know we tend to look at the primary school first and then the high school as the foundations for teaching the basics in any one of the sports. Mm-hmm. Let us know a little bit of how that goes from the high school level. Seeing we don't have the folks from the primary school level, let us know. I mean, how many sports do you guys teach over the period of the term, and how does that work?
Currently, the way it is set up right now, the aim is to basically touch volleyball, basketball, softball, and a little bit of track and field, and hopefully the kids in the 7th grade would probably do a little bit of cricket, and basically that's the synopsis for right now.
You normally have soccer in there too?
Well, we used to have soccer, and soccer used to come into the schools, and the instructors used to come in and assist, but the soccer federation, they kind of downsized, so they don't have the manpower to send someone into the schools and man the classes and do certain things. So, they right now is going to do a after-school program. They brought in their forms already to do registration. We started registration already. I put it out in the school for the kids to come and sign up, and it's been going good.
Now, as the head of the PE department, I see, it seems like we have a call already. Let me just see what's going on here. Okay, I think I lost that one. But as the head of the PE department, tell me some of the challenges that you see or you face with the kids that we have today, and when it comes to teaching sports.
There's a lot of discipline issues, 1. 2, the foundation, which I guess the lower levels teachers would probably talk about if the individual gets here. They lack balance. Some of them lack coordination. Not all of them necessarily comes from the public school. So the base and the foundation when it comes to a lot of the basic motor skills is not where you expect it to be. And then a lot of these lower schools don't necessarily have all the facilities to do all the sports. So even the 5th grade, but yeah, I should say 5th and 6th grade kids, where they might be now moving into a sport and the lower kids might be doing motor movement, the a lot of the schools don't have courts to do basketball. A lot of the coaches don't have pits to do long jumps. A lot of the schools don't have tracks. They don't have enough space to do a baseball game. So a lot of the teachers are crunched for time, they're crunched for space, and they do the best with what they can.
No, my co-host, I think I can refer a question to you. From the ministry point of view, where do you guys come in when it comes to sports in general? Is it just community sports, or you guys are involved in assisting in the high schools and primary schools?
It's something that we have to talk about. We have to get with Derwent, we have to get with the other schools, and it's something that I know we've touched base with Derwent and them recently, but we haven't gotten back together. Actually, we spoke about it just a couple of months ago and said we have to get together. It is some of the things that we have to do. The ministry is revamping or making some changes, and one of the things we need to do, I mean, Derwent is still relatively new in the job. The department is making a lot of changes, and I would hope that one of the focuses that we have would be to sit down with the likes of Derwent and to start to move forward. One of the challenges in small territories is that we tend to become very personal and pick on individual personalities. I think Derwent's in the position. We need to sit with him and get the best out of him, because irrespective of whoever's in the position, somebody has to get the job done. We need to sit down with him, find out what his goals are, where he wants to go to, begin with the end in mind and feel exactly what it is that the BVI High School wants, where do they want to go, what do they want to achieve. Sit down with him and help him to get to where he wants to get to, because no matter how big his goals and dreams are for the high school, he still at some point in time needs the support of the ministry, which is now a department. So, but if we aren't talking the same language, it will become difficult. So we need to sit down. We know it's due, but like I said, a lot of changes are going on, which you'll hear about, very shortly.
No, I know.
We will move forward from there.
I know in your department, you're strapped for manpower also. You in the area that I think that you're dealing with, there's a lot needs to be done, but there's not enough bodies to do it. How are you able to manage in that department with what you have, knowing what you need to be done?
No, I think that's all part of the change, because initially, if you recall, at one point in time, all the PE teachers were at Youth Affairs and Sports.
Exactly.
The change was made, and these are the sort of things that are being relooked at now. It may not reappear in the same body as it was before, but certainly the end result will be that we will certainly have a greater relationship with individuals like Derwent. So, for instance, right now, Derwent needs something. He's kind of like an outsider asking for something on the inside, whereas that needs to be changed so that he is really, because he really is on the inside. So get him more on the inside so that he becomes part of the process, because he is. Without him, nothing can get done. If kids are going to St. Thomas or they're going elsewhere, it needs to come from him. And the other thing, it needs to come from a reputable source. And that's one of the things that we're looking at. Not that any single person saying they're sending somebody away, but recognize individuals who are representing, the government, who are employed by the government, as Derwent is, who becomes part of that process.
I want to ask this question, so I'm going to ask it generally. Your department is also responsible for community sports, because I know when teams want to travel, they normally tend to come and ask your department for funding or assistance in order to get the job done. Is that the responsibility of your department?
Probably the Affairs and Sports is not just responsible for
assistant.
Well, I was going to say for organized sports, but we're responsible for all sports. So community events, teams that come together, walks, anything from that perspective. Really, we may not necessarily be the ones who are specifically organizing it, but we certainly should have some form of input. We should have knowledge. If a team, let's say a group or a volleyball group or track group, is bringing some people from overseas, by rights, really, they should have to write to the Youth Affairs and Sports to get permission to do that. Or we should certainly be in the mix, whereby we are sort of aware of doing that, we're aware of what's happening, and then we can play a pivotal role into what is going on, from that perspective.
Now, Derwent, I just heard Paul mention about sitting down with you and trying to revamp and organize. Do you think this was something that should have been done before the school term, or do you think it's something that can be done while your sessions are going on, while your planning is going on, or how do you see that?
Well, last year, I think, which was either last year or the year before, which was my first year in the capacity as head of department, number of individuals in his department reached out to me, Mr. Castro, Mr. Greenaway, a number of individuals. We sat down, we had a meeting concerning what I am trying to do or where I am trying to go, what's my vision. They had a number of individuals from the community and different things that was in the meeting. They say what they like or what they want or what, and we tried to come to one head. I know the minister was trying to put stuff in place to help, facilitate the stuff that we sat down and tried to discuss, and he met a roadblock. And after he met the roadblock, everything basically went down the drain.
Now, I know you have a big portfolio. You have a lot of ideas, and you'd like to see a lot of change happen in the high school system as far as when it comes to physical education. Tell us. I know last year you focused a lot on the basketball. You took basketball into the league in St. Thomas. You did great. I think you did some stuff in volleyball. Tell us how that went for your first year in the department.
Well, it went kind of rough, especially financially. It took a burden on me. I had to spend a lot of my own money to make stuff happen, and it was kind of stressful. I mean, basically from December to, I should say May, just about almost every weekend, I had to take money out of my pocket. So it was kind of stressful. At the end of the day, the joy that came with it was kind of overwhelming. The first team to participate in the league was the baseball team, and the baseball team, they opened the league against the mighty Charlotte High School. I think, if I remember correctly, I think they lost like 17-0. They were no hit, but they was not discouraged. The next day they came out, they defeated Ken. I think they also defeated Ken Crying. And by the time the league came to an end in January, they were playing for championship. And they met the same mighty Charlotte, and they were actually leading with about 2 or 3 innings to go, and then end up losing by 2 runs. So I really, at the end of the day, you saw the increase in production, the increase in attitude, the increase in discipline, increase in talent, increase in exposure. And some of those same kids got the opportunity to go to the States with the St. Thomas team. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I got what I wanted. The softball team was the same thing. The girls were shy, they were scared. You put some of them in a game that they're trembling, they're nervous, but they end up playing for championship against Charlotte over here. We had 3 really nice games where, we lost by 1 run, we won by 5 or 6, and then we lost by 1 run in the final deciding game for championship. The same thing with the junior boys. The junior boys for basketball, they won the league. They ended up playing the same Charlotte for championship, lost the first game, came over here for the remaining 2 games, won the second one, and then lost the last one in a nail-biter. So, I mean, I feel that it was productive. It was great. The junior girls, which is basketball, which we, trying to get off the ground to hopefully build a national team. The junior girls, when we were financially in a boarding, so the last tournament, which was the March Madness, I spent some money. The girls that were strapped for money, I went out of my way and I paid for, a few of the girls that were in a bind, and we won championship. And if I had those same girls for the regular season, I couldn't lose a game.
Now, given the information that you just told us, I mean, what would you do different this year, knowing the situation and the financial strains and constraints and stuff that you've been through last year? How, I mean, going forward this year, what changes do you think you need to make, and how would you do that?
In terms of
getting financial assistance and
well, this started a long time ago. So financial assistance, you have to go to companies, get sponsors, different things, and the sponsors also still have to go through a little red tape before they can actually even give you sponsorship. So that's now become even more ticklish. And the government is currently, I guess, kind of strapped for cash. So it's kind of difficult. I'm not even sure if I'm going to do it this year, to be honest with you. I mean, I received the invitation yesterday. They had the meeting yesterday, the IAA board in St. Thomas, to set the new calendar, to set all the stuff. And, you know, because of the financial situation, it was at 4 o'clock, which most likely mean you have to spend the night and stuff like that. And I say, hey, just send me the report from the meeting. And then I would decide after that. You know, they want to incorporate that, okay, I played 2 games in Thomas, they played 2 games over here. And I mean, I must commend the Native Son, you know, for giving us a tremendous fair and being one of the major sponsors of, you know, this year for the teams. I mean, they went beyond the call of duty. So, you know, that really was, and I must commend Ms. Hodge up at the port and Mr. Klein for really working with us on the waiver and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was good. The other part of the situation as far as accommodation and transportation and food and stuff like that, you know, we gonna see. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
Now, when you take on a task like that and you reach to the magnitude that you reach with the different teams, who do you report to, and where does that information go as far as your statistics?
In terms of the league statistics, or as far as
the accomplishments that you did so far, as league
well,
statistics and stuff
it goes
like that.
to the principal. We also had a little magazine that the school was doing, a little calendar and different things that, you know, stuff was done. Mr. Greenaway, Dean Reed, you know, he did a nice little report. I think he put it in Lyman Times. The Daily News did a really great report. It took some pictures, and also it was, Buddy Kennan did a great show on the air. So, I mean, it basically, I can't complain.
Now, folks, if you're just checking in with us, I have in the studios with me my good co-host, Paul on the ball, and I have Mr. Derwin Scatliff, and we're talking sports from the high school level, but we're going to right we continue with the conversation. Stay and stay.
Sports Desk is sponsored by Lime, the better, faster 4G network.
Welcome back, folks. If you're just joining us, again, the number is on the screen if you want to join in the conversation. In the studio with me, I have no other than my good colleague and cousin, Derwin Scatliff, along with my good co-host, Paul on the ball. And we're here talking sports from the high school level and the ministry level. So we're getting back into conversation. Paul, I know you were just listening to a lot of information that was just disseminated from my good cousin here. Now, from the ministry standpoint, what can the ministry do to assist him in situations that he faced last year or going forward this year? What would he need to do in order for stuff like that to not have to happen in him and progress happens?
Well, like I mentioned before, and I think Derwin kind of has an idea. It's a matter of us getting together and talking about it before. But we have to get together to do that and to discuss it. And like I say, to kind of like change Derwin's role as to where he stands, you know, from where he's at now to his relationship with youth affairs and sports. But again, with our transition and, you know, us trying to give a different output to, you know, to the public. You know, we have the youth parliament and the youth commission, all the things that we're doing now, and sports is actually going to follow the same process very shortly. So, you know, we're trying to kind of revamp the department, give it a whole brand new look, and to become more intertwined with places like the high school. It kind of, I don't want to say give Derwin more power, but certainly gives him more autonomy, gives him more, you know, gives him, he's able to get more things done a little simpler. And then, you know, things like, you know, when he says that going to his own pocket, we'd hope that as things move along, those sort of things can be rectified.
Now, we're just talking about the Elmo Stout High School. What about the one in Virgin Gorda, Anegada, and the different sporting groups that comes to the ministry all the time seeking for information and funding in order for stuff. What is the process that needs to be done, and how does it need to be done?
Well, the process really hasn't changed that much per se. Usually, people come in with an itemized form as to what it is that they need. They have to send in, a proper invoice if there's finance involved, and a letter to the director, and that then obviously has to go up to the ministry. The ministry then looks at it, and it's either approved or not approved. I think it's as simple as that. Where the difference would be is when we, when we get together out of the association. I mean, I don't know if you were aware, but we recently had a consultant here, who is Dwayne Eversley. She was here for 3 months, and a lot of work was done in that period of time with the department. A lot of work, and these are all the sort of things that were discussed as to where the department is going. Her findings are going to come out shortly, and you'll begin to see the difference, and the territory can reap the rewards of the work that has been done the last couple of months.
For years, our Youth Affairs and Sports Department, how should I phrase it, has been under a lot of constraints, and it wasn't able to produce the way it should be, because from my understanding, I think that the Youth Affairs Sports is responsible for, like you said, all sports, community sports, and school sports. Mm-hmm. I know you guys were strapped for manpower, and you said there's a lot of changes being made right now coming on stream. Do you care to reiterate any of those changes that we can look out for? Because this is a new season, a new year. The year's almost ended, but for high school, it's a new term. And you may have a lot of social groups, high schools coming up to you. I mean, tell us what should we be looking for going forward, and
Well, I don't think at this point I'm privy to sort of release that sort of information. But I just happily say that the changes that you'll be happy with, Carl. Let's put it that way.
I must say that
I know you'd like to hear it on your show first.
My colleague,
your show is actually my show.
Like a politician. He speaks like a politician. He's well versed in that area. So I'm trying.
That's why I want to show it you.
I'm like the dentist now trying to pull teeth. Yes.
Pulling teeth is painful, isn't it?
Yes, and it's very painful right now. There's stuff that I'm trying to hold back.
I don't know if did I say that? Did I say that even the car's mom?
You did.
I did.
But we're not.
Your mom as well.
Hi, mom.
We're not. That's fine to say hello.
Okay, I just want to.
Is that to take a break?
I just want to reiterate. I want to reiterate again.
So back to
from the ministry's point of view, I know my good colleague, the Honorable, he normally logs in every now.
Good colleague.
Of course.
Let's keep it going.
Of course, I strap him when I have to, but when he's doing good, I have to give him credits, and I want to say thank you for the contribution to helping us with Nella going to Jamaica. He does his work, I must say.
Oh, Nella's in Jamaica.
But on the other hand, now the ministry, which is under your portfolio,
talk a bit about that.
which is under your portfolio. Be honest.
Can
the ministry is struggling. The ministry is struggling, and there's a lot of input and a lot of ideas that people from the outside, like myself, would love to share with you guys. So I know. First of all, let me just ask: is there a calendar of events that the ministry look at and target every year?
Funny you should say that. There's a lot of things that you want to share. But when Bennett Eversley was here, we had
no idea who this person was.
It was on the radio, newspaper. It was.
But
everywhere.
you are my colleague. We sit here every week, and you never really mention anything.
You don't listen to the radio, Carl?
No, I'm listening to you. You're my colleague. Why should I listen to the radio? I can get first-hand information.
Wow!
General public, you understand what's going on?
We went to Anegada, Just Van Dyke.
Oh, so you've been traveling and haven't said anything?
Yeah, and Virgin Gorda. All as a whole, the whole department.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to put you on the spot now. For the general public who's watching the show, if you guys have any knowledge of what my good colleague here is saying, and if you can attest to what he's saying, give us a call or send us a text. Let us know what you think came out of all of that, and because he's like I said, he's resisting pulling that teeth out.
Well, the thing is, Carl, as you know, if you understand how the process works.
No, I don't. So educate me.
I'm going to educate you now. So we go to all the different sister islands. And we also had a meeting here with all stakeholders. Out of that meeting, we then have our consultant
Who are the stakeholders?
Well, all the different stakeholders who,
No, I don't. I'm asking. And the general public would love to know.
General public are a stakeholder.
So who are the
private
stakeholders?
enterprise, they're a stakeholder. Different stakeholders. So we went. In other
So
words,
you were eating steak and you didn't invite me.
I invited you. You didn't show up.
Anyways,
out of that,
yes, out of that.
So you asked me, so I'm answering your question. Out of that, findings were made. We are now waiting for the results of that, which will eventually be made public. But from those findings, the object of the exercise is to better the department so that the general public feel as if they're getting more of the department. So we as a department are inputting more, because at the end of the day we're talking about the youth and their development, which is very important. All right? And persons like Derwin, who are head of sports department at the high school, can get a lot more done.
Is he
more
a part
effectively.
is he a part of the stakeholders?
Of course he's a stakeholder.
Oh, was he at your meeting?
Well, I don't recall seeing him, but certainly it was a general invitation. Sometimes timing is, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm very trained.
I like
Timing is
answer.
everything.
Yeah, I like answer. I think we may have a text coming in.
So yeah, while you look for your text, we'll ask I'll ask Derwin. So
The general public said they had no knowledge.
Okay, there you go. Anyway, yes, Carl's sister or somebody sent the text. Thank you for sending that.
But you know what? What I personally find
I
is
can't
that
ask the question. I noticed I was gonna you
no, I
sidetracked me
want
twice.
you. Yeah, but I'm asking a question. You're supposed to be
I was
answering.
asking
You can't
Derwin.
ask no a question.
No,
You're guessing.
sorry, people. Today I'm not allowed to ask
You're a guest.
any questions. Apparently, I'm a guest on my own show.
You are
You just forgot to tell me until the camera came on. Did they say break? No, they pointed at the camera.
But
I
anyhow,
think they want a break.
I just
want to start this
I just
off.
want to say this before we go to the break. I just want to say this.
Oh, okay.
Paul, you're a guest tonight, and I'm doing the question.
And I can't ask Derwin any questions.
No, you can.
I can look at him, but
yes.
I can't ask any questions.
And on that note, folks, like I said, the conversation is getting interesting. If you guys want to know a lot more about the youth affairs, because there's a lot I'm going to ask Doran, since my other colleague is not being here, so we're going to get back to Doran in a while.
Let's ask Derwin a lot of questions.
So we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back at the word from our sponsors.
Sports Desk is sponsored by Lime, the better, faster 4G network.
Welcome back, folks. Again, if you're just joining us, in the studios is my good colleague and co-host. He's a guest tonight, Paul on the ball.
You got it
And
right
I
the first time,
And
co-host.
listen, I'm speaking, please.
Sorry.
Be quiet.
Yeah, just to correct, co-host.
And I have Mr. Derwin Scatliff
cousin.
from Department of Elmo Stout High School Physics Department. Now,
You've got to say
we just had a heated discussion a while
did?
ago.
Yeah,
and
you
I just want to get back to that, Paul, before I go to Doran. One of my questions is, and I think you might be able to assist me.
What do you think?
When people, in general, come to the department asking for funding and asking for assistance in a lot of these different areas, do you guys get back a report on where this money is being going and how it's being spent on any of that cost?
Well, I guess reports have to be done. I guess the reports go to the ministry. I would assume so. If you give somebody some money, and it was a fair sum, would you like to get a report back?
Of course.
So
I would
I
love
guess
to know.
it's the same with
So
that.
you're saying you do receive reports?
I would hope so.
Now, my thing is, I know my good fellow Minister of Sports, you're new when it comes to sports, and I know you have a lot of advisors. I understand that every time, because I just heard you said that,
You heard me say that?
when anybody wants to submit something to the department, it comes through you, and you send them directly to the minister. Why is that? Does the department have its own budget where they can manage their own and have their own accounting?
That's a great question, Carl.
And I would like an answer.
Yeah, well, we'll get one of these days, but I don't think now is the appropriate time to answer.
So you're saying,
I'm saying that they need to ask Derwin some questions.
I'm getting to Doran.
So get to Derwin.
But the department needs to defend. You're my guest.
No, I don't need to defend because I'm a co-host here. I need the fella.
Okay, so let us know from the ministry point of view,
Huh?
since you're my co-host.
Yeah? Well, I'm not here speaking on the ministry's behalf. I answer some of your questions, but I'm not going to answer that one.
Doran, so now you see the problem where when you're asking for assistance,
Mm-hmm.
the channels that you have to go through,
Uh-huh.
and you see the kind of answers that you get.
Yeah, but I know that already, you know.
So you know you have to bypass him.
No, I don't have to bypass him. I mean, if you bypass him, it's still going to send it back down to him to come back up. So it don't make no sense bypassing
so
him.
you're like a yo-yo, back and forth.
Yeah.
So from your understanding, the minute the department doesn't have any say on what goes on, it
They have some kind of say.
it has to go
They
direct.
have some kind of say. They will recommend or not recommend that, you know, the minister, I guess, look at it. And depending on the money and I guess depending on the individuals down there who look at it, they will make a decision.
Now, if Derwin knows that, how come you don't know that? And
Honestly
you
speaking,
come to this as much as
I'm the
Derwin.
host tonight, so just
Oh, you're the host? I wasn't the host.
honestly speaking, I personally see a breakdown in the department, and there's a lot of assistance that needs to be helped. And I think whoever is advising the minister, I think they're doing a poor job.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And I'm speaking boldly. I know you just mentioned that you had
So who
somebody
you think
here.
advising the minister,
I'm-
Mr. Hewlett over here?
It's also-
I didn't call any names because he doesn't want to answer any
He doesn't
questions.
want any question.
But I'm saying he's just mentioned about
you
somebody
feel that
being
he's
here.
one of his biggest advisors.
Well, I would hope that he has a say.
Okay.
But he also mentioned about somebody came in and
Did a study.
They
did
had
a
a
study.
consultant.
A consultant came in. If
That's
there's one
correct.
thing that our government is good at, is bringing in people to understudy us. I mean, to study us. We don't get the opportunity to study
And how else do
ourselves.
we learn, Carl?
But then,
how else do we learn?
But we,
If people don't
I
come in to
personally
assist.
feel, Paul, we
Yeah.
have knowledgeable people that can do the same job that you pay somebody to come in and do.
I hear what you're saying, but Carl, but at some point
So
in
you-
time you need
Oh.
assistance. Or, in other words, no man is an island. So at some point in time you need to bring somebody in to assist you. Otherwise,
Do
if
you,
you
do you leave to go anywhere to assist anybody
let
else
me
in any
ask
other
you a
country?
question. Why do you want to bring NBA players in here to teach the youngsters? Why don't you teach them everything that you know?
You know why I bring NBA players in here?
Why?
For exposure. It gives our country exposure.
Get our country exposed.
it gives- it
And do
brings-
the kids
it's
learn
sports-
anything?
it's sports tourism.
Do the
It's a
kids
different
learn?
topic. It's
do the
sports
kids? It's
tourism.
the exact same thing.
No,
It's the same thing.
how-
Do the
how
kids?
is it not?
Do the kids learn anything when they come in? Do the youngsters, the children, whatever you want to call it, do they learn anything from these
Well,
consultants,
You
these
can answer
backgrounds when they
that.
come in?
You can answer that.
Well, you want me to answer it?
Yes. I refuse to answer that. You can answer that.
So therefore, they see. So you know the answer. So
But
then
you
they-
also do.
So
You
you're
also do.
So you're asking questions that you know the answer of.
But I'm asking. I'm also asking
But
questions
you're
that I don't know the answer.
saying, but you tell me that you're an island and you don't want any support
No,
from
I did
outside.
not say I'm an island.
Yes, you did,
Please.
because you want to know why a consultant's coming
Please,
in.
please
Why
don't-
does one call a consultant in, Carl?
Darwin, let me speak to you a little bit because
You don't want to talk to
obviously
me?
right now he's getting a little antsy.
Not at all.
No, it says,
Not at
Darwin,
all.
what kind of fundraisers do you guys do in the off season to help with your expenses?
There you go.
Okay.
Finally, a question to Darwin.
That's what you want. You want.
Somebody just asked.
Well, that's technical and it's kind of difficult, and not to get anyone in trouble.
It seems
It's-
like
it's going-
everybody is trying to avoid getting anybody in trouble tonight.
Yeah.
What's going on? I can't have a.
We have done, you know, fundraisers. We have done stuff to raise fund. The issue is with funding. When you raise the fund,
It doesn't go to your department.
it
only.
doesn't go to my department only.
How do you feel about that?
Well, if that's the rules that the ministry stipulates, there's nothing I could do about it.
So it comes from Paul's ministry.
No, it comes from the Department of Education.
Okay.
Between
Now-
Department of Education and Treasury or whoever writes the rules and bylaws. So, yeah, that's
The problem I have, and I'm going to speak boldly about it, and it's for years I've been trying to say this, is that I think personally, the people that you put in different positions, we put people in positions to fill who doesn't have any clue of what's going on in that area. And that's something I think we need to get away from, because yourself, my good colleague, we've been in sports for a long time. He's in a position where his hands seem like they're tired, he can't get anything done. And it must be frustrating to him, you know. So when I ask him a question now, he can't answer because he's frustrated himself. But the long and short of it is, here it is that you're trying to get something accomplished. You're having a very difficult time doing it. You have able bodies that might be able to help you to get your accomplishment done, but still you have to go through all these red tapes with, at the end of the day, you still come out the loser.
I wouldn't 100% say that, because there are one or two little loopholes if you
You
that.
don't want to say that. Be careful how you phrase that.
No,
Go ahead.
My back broad, and I
Good, go ahead.
You know my back broad. There are one or two.
I don't want to see you out on the street, you know.
There are one or two loopholes that, if it's done correctly and depending on the sponsor and the persons, and there are ways that it can be done that it does not necessarily go to the general pool.
Now let me ask you a question. For all the money that you spent in the past year, have you got back anything from it?
No, except the joy of the kids and the rewards of the kids and change in behavior.
Have
and
you
discipline.
sent in any of the receipts or
Yes, I
anything
did.
for your reimbursement?
Yes, I did.
And have you anybody got back to you with a consideration of, okay, we look into this
Yes,
for you?
I was told, hopefully in time.
Okay, in time. Okay. Now, I have a big question.
Uh-huh.
I come into the high school on a regular basis. I come in and we have dialogue and conversations. One of the things that I noticed, and it starts from the primary school, that's why I wish that my good colleague from the primary school was here, is that I see a lot of obesity in our kids.
Uh-huh.
I see a lack of mobility, agility, and stuff like that with our kids. How difficult it is for your department to work with kids on that level? Because I know last time we had a discussion in this, it was said that even to run a lap around a track was difficult for the kids. Mm-hmm. Explain.
The problem is, as a trainer, coach, which I know you are, and Mr. Hewlett over here is the same thing. A lot of people mistake and don't understand that 90 to 80%, depending on who you talk to, it is the environment, it is the food, it is the adults, it's the genes. It is not necessarily all about fitness and athletics. And what I am trying to do, especially in my department as a teacher, is try to now go the backward road. I'm also a member of the Health Association.
Yeah, and if I could just throw in quickly, don't forget what you're going to say, that the Ministry of Health has actually just put a program in place where they're going to all the primary schools. I don't know if the high schools including it.
The primary schools have already started.
Yeah,
I've seen
where they're
that.
actually checking the weight and doing
that
all the
board.
different... You're on that board. So go on, talk about that then.
So changing the way to eat.
So
I've seen that.
the emphasis is to, like I told them in the meeting, instead of trying to walk from the top down, let's try to walk from the bottom up, which is educate the kids, teach them right from wrong, show them where stuff affect the body, where it goes down the years, and hopefully they will go home now and educate their parents. Instead of talking to the parents, and if you can show kids where, okay, it is more cost effective to buy this than to buy this, this is more healthy, this lasts longer in your system, this helps you to feel full longer, stuff like that. Now, there is one or two things that, not to knock anybody, but it's a major issue, especially in our system, especially the high school. You, as a coach, Mr. Hewlett,
I
as
know
a
you're
coach,
going.
You know where I'm going?
I know exactly where you're going.
Where am I going, Paul?
No,
Go
let
ahead.
him speak. Let him speak.
I know
We
you
can't get
you
information
want me
from
to
him.
say.
Okay.
We can't get information from him. So
But
I have information on
you
this.
don't delete it long
I have
time.
information on this. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I'm not sure if you know where I'm going.
I think I
he say
do.
But he think he knows.
Yeah,
Yes.
One is, you have a lot of kids that come to school at 7:30, 8 o'clock. The first time that they can get a meal after that, if they ate breakfast, is not until 12 o'clock.
When the bell rings.
That is a 4-hour, 5-hour, probably 6-hour span for some kids. That's not good for the diet. And stuff like that, where break was removed, and you have some teachers don't like kids eating in the class. They don't want to give them an opportunity to go and get. But some kids overdo it. And then the vendors is another issue. There's a number of different things that we have to be able to sit on, crack down on. And, at the end of the day, understand it's for a healthy community. It's not just about us and maybe figuring what this individual might want and this individual who's pulling string. At the end of the day, it is for, less people down on the dialysis machine.
I just wanted...
Go ahead.
No,
I actually trying to single you out, but you want to take over.
Today you won't let me talk.
So when I want to talk,
fight for a spot.
Yes.
No, I want to talk about this.
All of a sudden, he can't do it.
You
got a tongue now.
Carl's getting very personal here. So I would take him personal.
No,
I love
it's
Carl.
not personal,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
But I know I like where Darren is going, and I agree with him because the whole puzzle he's talking about with the kids taking too long to eat, and then the types of foods that they are eating is a real challenge. The challenge is that when we start talking about the way, and then you finish, Carl, about the way that they eat, the end result is that there are over 35 patients locally here who are on a dialysis machine, which is costing the government over $2.5 million per year. It's estimated that within the next 5 years, that number is going to be tripled if we continue to eat the way that we are eating at present. So if you're 16 or 17 or even 15 or 14, I'm telling you about the dialysis machine, you're telling me, well, you don't want to hear about that. Well, you're the same person that in those 5-10 years' time is going to be on dialysis, because it's not people who are 60 or 70 who are on dialysis machines anymore. Some of them are 35 and 40, some of them are dropping down and going to their grave at 35 now. So it's affecting the youngsters who are in school now. Directly who it's affecting if we don't start getting them to change their buying habits, their eating habits, and their lifestyle.
Now, since you touched that topic, how do you guys propose to do that?
Well, the way I propose to do it is you feed kids with what they like and what they love. A lot of them like social media, they love Facebook, they love the computers, they love this. And you give them articles and stuff to go and research and look at. Send them to the tools that they love. And once you send them to the tools that they love, and then you bring the information to the class and you bring it in a informative way that you can show them. You know, simple stuff where you take a Coca-Cola bottle and you throw it on the toilet and you see the effects that it does on your toilet bowl, and say, well, hey, that's the same effect it does on your organs.
Or you throw it on a penny.
It's the same thing.
Right.
So if you break it down in that farmer way, it is eye-catching to them.
Experimental.
Not eye-catching to them.
Right.
That it hits home. It has a more resounding effect than just talking about it.
Right.
And you have to hit them where, you know, they understand.
I think I have a caller coming in for the first time.
As they call you
If I-
talking sense now. You were talking
Good
dollars
evening on the
before.
sports desk. I have. Go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen. I know the show is winding down, but I'm going to give Carl a little belt when I see him on the street. Won't go into detail, but my question is mostly for Mr. Scatlip in the middle.
Yes.
Did you talk about the vendors? I mean, yes, sometimes you guys didn't want to speak simple plain English, but I think if you have vendors on the campus, the Department of Education should give them a menu of what to serve the children for lunch. I think that should be mandatory. That ain't complex, because you guys didn't want to say the thing about us over the years, and what Paul was talking about, dialysis, too much starch in our diet. So what I'm saying, we can't be saying A and not doing A. So if starch is going to contribute to the health issues, you've got to eliminate certain things what the children purchase on campus. That's my 2 cents for now.
Okay, good.
yeah.
I want to address that before you guys do.
Okay.
To the caller, I could attest to the fact that yes, the principal or whomever, the authorities did speak to the vendors about it, but the challenge the vendors have is that when they try to produce healthy foods like lettuce and tomatoes and all that kind of stuff, the kids take them and throw them on the ground. So the vendors are left, I mean, wondering, okay, well, am I wasting my food? Because they come and they say, well, you know, I'm not going to eat that. That's not what I want. I want fries. I want chicken. So they go to the next vendor who's serving that type of food. Because, like I say, I could attest to it. I speak with the vendors myself. I've seen it.
Yeah, but
like
it's
I
the
said,
same
on-
thing
on
the
campus.
caller says. So if the other vendor is not selling
Correct.
the chicken and the fries,
Correct.
there's no
They-
places for them to
they-
go.
They're going to go outside.
How they going to get outside?
They're going to have somebody bring it to them.
No, it doesn't
Hold
work that
on,
way.
hold on.
But then even if
Hold
they
on.
have someone bring it to them,
You're trying to
it
tell me-
might be 30 out of the 1,400s on the campus. So
Yeah,
then
so,
we...
but you know what happens? You just said it.
Right.
If you're selling something that I don't like, I prefer not to eat anything and wait till when I get
No,
up.
only
and-
for a while.
And that's only for a while, and once you
They'll
understand
change.
the
They'll
effect,
change, Carl.
Really?
yeah, I have
Absolutely.
kids in my class that
Absolutely.
understand, and,
Absolutely.
and they've
And
realized
that's
what
the
it does.
That's the first thing that Darren says, starting from the bottom up.
I
That's why it's
understand.
from the bottom up. So therefore, maybe some of the fifth formers or whatever you call them now, 11th graders
Yes.
or graders, and are going to defy it. But the 6th and 7th graders who are coming
Thank
in,
you.
it'll eventually become part of them.
Thank you.
And they will eventually embrace it.
Thank you.
It's like in the UK very quickly, when I remember years ago when they first started bringing out no smoking. And everybody looked at the few who wouldn't smoke, they look at them as if they were really weird.
Hold
Say, well,
on,
come
hold
on,
on,
you don't
Tom.
want a cigarette?
You just brought up something that was said here. It said, Dervin, Is it a fact that during peace, some of the kids are smoking and consuming alcohol? If yes, what are you as a head doing to correct that? It seemed like you just touched. Did you send that text?
Yeah, I have a phone hidden.
It has to be that you sent that text. Darwin?
Before Darwin answers, I have to say, Carl, as much as I love you, you just love controversy, don't you?
No, it's not. No,
I have to say,
see, that's the thing.
because we were really on a hot topic here.
Yeah.
Derek wanted to answer. You want Derek to stop.
But you just sent a text. So you want him to answer his
Well,
text?
I want to say to caller, that's a great question. We have to answer that one next week. Derwin, you're going to make a point in the other thing.
Yes.
Yes.
So we will be back next week. Hopefully the
Yeah.
primary school one will be here.
Yes,
let's
good.
hope that-
Derwin, make the point you're going to make. Oh, you forget now.
Which point? This one or
No,
this
the
one?
other one. The other one.
The other one, I mean, like me and Paul was saying, if the other vendors doesn't have the food to sell, okay, it is going to cause that. And when you sit down with the middle kids, which Mr. Hewlett was talking about, which is the older one, but the middle kids, which is 9th and 10th, 11th grade, who is worrying about their figure, their shape, their pimples and all these different things, you'd be surprised when you sit down and you show them where water and a little bit of lime and different things, just a couple of glasses that they can help them with their menstrual cycle,
Correct.
their face and their hair and their growth. It is like, yeah, that's what they want. You talking beauty, you talking fitting in with the crowd, which is what, you don't go and just talk about how we're going to help you out.
I want you to
talk
pause it.
about,
Derwin, Carl
I
is
just want you to pause
Carl
it.
is
We are-
unhappy
we're out of time, but
you
I
are
just want to
talking
make
too
this
much
statement.
positive
No.
stuff.
I want
Carl
to make
is
this statement
unhappy.
because Doran,
You're unhappy.
Doran can attest to this.
Just say it,
that
you're unhappy.
The stuff that he's talking, I believe in it.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do.
Your face doesn't say that.
I do. But then at the same time,
Yes.
if you can't get your food indoors, I've seen parents walking in with their food for their kids. The same junk that we trying to get them out of,
Yeah,
they're
but
bringing
that's-
inside.
that's the
You
older
talk about, hold
folks.
on,
You
you
can
talk about,
change
yeah,
all
but
you
the
talk
way,
about
the way to
you
carve
talk
that
about
is the
the-
same way how I sat on the
Correct.
same board and explained.
Yes.
You have to show parents and show kids where this meal over here that is healthy, that can cost you $3, and you're looking at this over here that you figure, okay, cost you $3. You weigh the difference. The problem is a lot of people who sell the so-called healthier food or look at it, they figure it costs more.
me
They're
ask you-
not understanding that, okay, you eat the fries and the chicken like the person that says, all that starch. You're empty or you're hungry maybe within 2 hours. When you eat the solid protein and the more healthier stuff, you're more full maybe for another 4 hours. So instead of you having to buy this meal twice, which now comes to $6, this was originally $3. This one was maybe $3.50
No.
or $4. You try to save a little dollar, a little 50 cents to buy a juice or whatever,
Cost you
but
more.
this here is going to help you in the long run. It's also going to help you to stay full longer because maybe
I
you
want-
have practice in the afternoon.
I want to interject a little bit. I want you and Paul to live by example.
Okay,
Out of the three of us,
okay.
Yes.
who's the fittest out of the three of us?
I am.
I thought it was me.
You see, I'm glad that you guys said that.
When I
because-
said that, I'll be honest with you. Mr. Hudot over here, he crazy. So I know I'm as fit as him, but I gonna always say me.
But
So who's the least fit of the three of us?
The reason I said that is because I want you to live by example. And it all starts with us, like you said, educating the general public, but we can only do so much.
Which is true.
Everybody has a mind of their own.
Yeah, but I'd
'Cause
like to
I
believe
can tell you plain out,
if you
how
preach
many-
it every day
How
and
many,
you have
how
to
many
see.
food stores around here you know that cooks healthy food?
I know quite a bit, and the problem is a lot of people don't know.
Well,
Rob-
I think that's where we start.
I don't want to do the producer's job, but
No.
are we out of time?
I'm going to fire you.
I thought I was already
I'm
fired.
going to look for a new host.
Yes, I wasn't allowed to speak.
Like I said, it has been an interesting. It was an interesting
It got
conversation.
really interesting, yeah.
And we're
Yeah,
gonna
after he tried to
continue.
stop doing politics
We're gonna
question.
continue this show again. As you can see, my good colleague, when it comes to the hard question, all of a sudden he closes up, he freezes up, he refuses to answer. It's like a politician. My good colleague here, Darwin, is onto something, but again, I don't want to have to point fingers. And according to my good colleague, I don't want to have to be controversial. No. But sometimes you do have to stick a man in order for him to cry, and you know that he's hurting on the inside like us. Okay. So I just want to leave you with these notes. Next week, Paul, I'm not finished.
Before you go, could I just say good night to Carl's mom and dad?
She heard you the first time.
Okay.
They heard you the first time, and they'll tell me about it later.
Okay.
Mrs. Hewlett, again, Paul is misbehaving. I'm talking about your wife now, eh?
Oh!
Because I don't spoke to your mom already, so I'm talking to your
Are
wife.
we out of time?
On that note, folks, again, if you just tuned in, tune in next week where it gets a lot interesting, and hopefully we'll have, again, a person from the primary school sports, because things like these needs to be addressed. We need to know a lot more information about what we're doing in sports and how we can assist and what's going to be going on. So,
Until
again,
next week.
finish, Paul.
Until next week, good sports in you. Good night.
Sports Desk is sponsored by Lime, the better, faster 4G network.